breathe out. Because you can't win every game, right? You can't win every game in the NHL. You can't win an entire 82-game season. You can come close. You can do really good, but you can't win all 82. And apparently, you can't win against the Nashville Predators, who have now won 10 of their last 11 against the Wild. They win this game 6-2 in a dominant performance that didn't really look that dominant. It wasn't Nashville winning, it was Minnesota shooting themselves in the foot and Nashville taking advantage of it. So in a way, yeah, it was Nashville winning. This game was on ESPN, or ESPN Plus, I should say, with the great crew of Steve Levy and AJ Malesko. With Levy continuously, not getting players' names right or just mistaking players, pronouncing them wrong, and just, he's a football guy. Don't have him announce hockey. Please tell me he's not one of the people that's announcing hockey. Give me the Jets guy, the guy who does the radio calls for the Jets, Bob Wischusen, the guy that did the Columbus game for Minnesota. That guy is good in the playoffs. This crew, it's all right. It's Matthew Boldy's birthday today, but he didn't play tonight, so not really a good birthday gift to give him. But it's his 21st and he's in Nashville, and they're staying there for 4 days, so they should have a lot of fun there, at least hopefully. But what was shocking to me when I first started to write notes for this game is that Nashville, coming into this game, was 6 points behind St. Louis. Nashville was sitting tied with Vegas for the first wildcard spot. They had 82 points. 82 points. They are now only 6 points behind St. Louis, or not 6 points, 4 points now behind St. Louis. And St. Louis themselves is only 3 points behind us. So winning this game would have definitely put a bigger cushion in and possibly pushed Nashville out of the playoffs, which I didn't think would be a possibility, but I guess they proved me right that it wasn't a possibility. But since March 8th, Minnesota's been one of the hottest teams in the NHL with a record of 11-1-2 since March 8th. So you got to figure they keep rolling, right? Well, eventually the momentum dies down. So tonight's game was Fleury versus Saros, so two good goaltenders going at it, so it was pretty good. And what was also interesting is that they mentioned every morning skate for Minnesota's optional, mainly because Dean Evison hated when he did him as a player, and he's like, well, why waste energy earlier in the day when you're going to play a game? There's no point. So he said, all right, if you want to go skate on the ice, go ahead. That's up to you. I'm not going to force you because I don't see the reason for it. But yeah, we're just going to play the game and hope for the best. And a game against a team that we can't win against for the life of us. The last time we won in Nashville was 5 years ago. It has been that long since we have beaten Nashville. And I talk about Winnipeg being our boogeyman, or like St. Louis being our boogeyman. Basically, all of the Central Division is our boogeyman at this point, and that's not good because we play either them or St. Louis in the first round. That's a given, okay? We're not playing Colorado because I don't think we're going to fall that far. Who knows? We might, but honestly, no. We probably won't. Hopefully. There should be no reason to panic because you can't win every game. But let's start with this game. 3 minutes into the game, it's 17:39. Jacob Middleton and McCarron just throw the gloves already. Middleton gets the better of it, and okay, early skirmish right out in front. Pretty easy. And they mentioned that Nashville at that point had 49 major penalties. That was the most in the entire league. So I'm thinking, that's a weird stat. Then, not even 30 seconds later, Marcus Foligno and Mark Borowiecki fight as well. Foligno supposedly wins the better of that. He ends up falling on top of him. So there's that. Then at 16:45, Brandon Duhaime gets a high sticking penalty, and a theme that would continue throughout the rest of this game starts there. Because Nashville, coming into this game, had the 6th best power play in the entire league. So they're already a pretty good team when they have the extra man. And they definitely proved that right. Fleury gets a good save to start off the bat. Gaudreau eventually gets more saves. The penalty kill was looking good in the first one. But then Roman Josi gets his 19th of the season at 14:50, assisted by Ekholm and Tomasino. Basically, it's a shot from the top of the circle for Roman Josi, and it gets screened in front by Colton Sissons. So, okay, whatever. Nashville's up 1-0. That's fine. And then at 12:16, Tanner Jeannot gets a high sticking penalty. And it's... I think they got the wrong guy for this, but it's still a guy in the box. They went back, reviewed it. It's still a penalty. So Minnesota's got a chance. Minnesota's got a chance. And while Minnesota, who only had 1 day rest, Nashville has 3 days rest, which is something we should definitely use when we get to St. Louis. But our power play couldn't generate anything, couldn't even get into the zone, couldn't really make any good shots, just kept getting thrown out, just like all of our power plays have pretty much been this year. 9:28, Fleury has a pretty good save. And then at 9:17, Borowiecki and Delorier fight. And Delorier wins this one, but both of them are bloodied up at this point. Fleury makes another good save, and then the Wild get on the board. Matt Zuccarello gets his 21st of the season at 6:33, assisted by guess who? Kaprizov gets his 47th assist of the season. Basically, it was a defensive breakdown that got to Kaprizov along the wall. He fired a pass. Hartman was able to somewhat screen off one of the Nashville defensemen to let the puck get to Zuccarello. He's right in the slot, right in front of Saros. There's nothing any goalie could do there. So it's a 1-1 game. And then, to add insult to injury for Minnesota, at 6:27, Fiala takes a slashing penalty. Wouldn't you know it, at 6:08, Ryan Johansson gets his 18th of the season, assisted by Forsberg and Granlund. It's a tic-tac-toe passing play that was an easy tip-in for Marcus Johansson. And I wrote at the bottom, stay out of the box, because that's the one thing we cannot do against one of the best power plays in the league. But to no avail. They just continue to get penalties. But it wasn't just Minnesota. It was Nashville, too, because they knew this is a Central Division matchup and these guys hate each other. This was a pretty chippy game early on. And it kind of stayed that way the whole time because, again, it's the Central Division. It's the best division in all of hockey, in my opinion. But at 5:41, Colton Sissons gets an interference penalty. And Minnesota can't generate anything again on the power play. And we are getting our ass kicked in the face-off circle at this point. 5:07, Eriksson Ek hits the pipe. He hits the pipe and isn't able to generate anything else. And then 4:44, they were just now announcing the goal that happened for Marcus Johansson. That happened 2 minutes ago. And then still nothing happens on the power play. And then at 1:14, Kirill Kaprizov makes the dumbest decision I've seen from him in his career. He decides to openly cross-check one of the Nashville players straight to the head just because he was pissed off, and they easily call him out. They put him in the box. And wouldn't you know it, as they finally call the penalty on him at 1:14, and then with 56 seconds left, Johansson gets his second goal of the game and the second power play goal of the game for him, his 19th of the season, assisted by Josi and Duchesne. Basically, it was a Josi slap pass that ended up getting tipped in by Johansson. So, frankly, all three of these goals haven't been Fleury's fault. It's mainly just the Wild can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. But the Wild also get more life from Nashville somehow because they were also screwing up as well. Luke Kunin, at 31 seconds, gets a tripping penalty. 13:04, Hartman has a breakaway on Saros, and Saros denies him. And then that's the end of the first. In that first period, there were 42 combined penalty minutes between the two teams. So this tells you what hockey's like in the Central Division. And I wrote in all caps, at the end of the first, just stay out of the box. I don't know if you can see that, but you'll see it right there. All right, so wrote, just stay out of the box. Shots in this period were 15-13 in favor of Nashville. So it was still a high shooting period. Both sides had chances. It was pretty even. Second period, they flashed the stat on the screen that, yeah, Minnesota was 0 for 3 on the power play in the first period, and Nashville was 3 for 3 on the power play. Once again, that power play that was given to us by Kunin tripping somebody with 31 seconds left in the first generates nothing. Game is still chippy. Then at 16:36, Duhaime and Lauzon fight. That's the 4th fight in this game if you've been counting. And that totals up to 51 major penalties for Nashville on the year. And then at 16:01, Matt Dumba lays a huge hit on McCarron for Nashville. And it was weird because Dumba left for the locker room after that. It was called interference because McCarron had just let go of the puck. It had gone to somebody else, and Dumba just leveled him. It was a clean hit, but it was when he didn't have the puck. So they call him for that. And then Dumba leaves, and he doesn't come back for the rest of the game, which didn't make any sense. They never really specified why he left. They said it was some sort of injury in the 3rd period, so that's not good. But he also didn't look like he was injured. It was weird because he makes the hit. He was skating around kind of, normally, I guess. He was just doing fine. Then he just heads out to the locker room. So I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of odd. Originally, I thought it was a major penalty for some reason, so he just knew he was going off. But then I'm like, wait, that's early in the game. There's still 16 minutes left in the period. How is he going off? So he kind of disappears on us for the entire game. And he didn't come back. And again, to add insult to injury, 3 minutes after that hit happens, Philip Tomasino gets essentially a power play goal. His 11th of the season at 13:54, assisted by Josi, who is rolling as far as the Norris candidates goes. It's him and Makar for the Norris at this point, because he is a machine for Nashville. And the reason I say it's essentially a power play goal because technically it wasn't. It was even strength, but Zuccarello had just gotten out of the box as soon as this happened. So essentially it's 4 power play goals for Nashville. Josi ended up backhanding this one to Tomasino in the slot, and Tomasino has a wide open cage on the left side because Fleury has to slide over, and he scores. So it's 4-1 already. 4-1. And at 13:14, Ryan Hartman gets hit into the Nashville net. The Nashville net ends up going off of its moorings, and it hits Zuccarello as well. And I just wrote that down because I thought, man, that perfectly describes how this game is going for Minnesota. 11:09, it could have been 5-1, but no. Marc-Andre Fleury denies a breakaway for one of the Nashville Predators. I think it was Tomasino who he denied. And apparently there was also a missed call on Philip Forsberg, literally holding Zuccarello's stick as Zuccarello's trying to get the puck, trying to pull his stick away, and Forsberg is just openly grabbing it and just, dragging him with. And of course the refs managed to miss that one. At 7 minutes, I wrote that Minnesota is losing battles to the puck because of course they were. They were getting embarrassed for the first 2 periods of the game. It did not look good. Then at 5:27, Bjugstad gets a breakaway and he hits the post as well. So, of course, a little bit of puck luck, but also don't give up 4 power play goals. It's common sense. If it's a 5-on-4 and that happens 4 times, are you really going to blame the goalie for all 4 of those? Fleury is not the guy that's getting penalties here. Also wrote that Roman Josi now has 11 points in 3 games versus Minnesota. I wrote that when it was 4-1. I might have to rethink that, but at least 11 points in 3 games versus Minnesota. 3:54, Luke Kunin trying to help out his former Minnesota Wild. I appreciate that. He gets a hooking penalty. And also, at 2:49, William Carrier gets a cross-checking penalty. So now, there's a chance here for Minnesota. It's a 5-on-3 for Minnesota for 55 seconds. So Minnesota calls a timeout, and they try and regroup and work something. Because if they get a goal here, and possibly get another one, it's a 4-3 one-goal game, and all of a sudden, the momentum shifts. And they do get one. They get one with 2:09 left in the second period. Kirill Kaprizov gets his 40th of the season, assisted by Spurgeon and Zuccarello. Zuccarello, by the way, now having his 50th assist of the season. That ties a Wild franchise record for assists. So good for him. But the initial shot for for Kaprizov on this, it gets blocked and it bounces right back to him. So he just says, screw it, I'll just shoot it again. And this one goes in past Saros because there's too many bodies in front, a lot of screens. And yeah, he scores, and then there's 1:18 still left on that power play for Minnesota because Minnesota scored with 15 seconds left of 5-on-3. So they have a chance to possibly put it away. And I almost thought they did at 1:53. There was a massive scrum in front. The puck is bouncing around. Nobody can figure out where it is. Supposedly, Saros covered it at one point. The refs blew the whistle. The puck bounces out, and of course, the whistle's blown, so the Wild can't put it in. Oh, my God. That's how this game felt. 1:05, more chances for Minnesota. And then the power play ends for them, and the second period comes to a close. I wrote it was a slightly better period, but we need a little bit more urgency because that's what Nashville was playing with. Nashville's playing as though they lose this game, they fall out of the playoffs, which they could. They definitely could because Dallas was also playing the Islanders today. And Dallas was winning. Dallas is only 1 point out of a playoff spot. So losing there would be pretty bad. But end of the second period, Minnesota is leading in the shots department 31-24. So shots are flying like crazy in this period. And it's weird how Minnesota had the majority of the shots. A good chunk of those definitely come from that 5-on-3. But at the same time, how are we beating them in shots? Like, it didn't seem like that the whole period. It seemed like Minnesota would just not get anything going. Because, again, 4 power play goals, essentially 3.5, but still, 4 power play goals will do that. Because 5-on-5, we could have probably beaten this team. I think we would have beat this team if we dwindled down on those penalties. Because think about it. If we don't take any penalties in the first period, we're up 1-0. That's literally how it was. But that's the way Nashville plays. They will fight and take important guys out of the field of play and then score with whatever else. Because Johansson's not fired. I can't even speak right now because it's ridiculous. Johansson won't fight. Forsberg won't fight. Yossi won't fight. They're skill guys. So the skill guys aren't going to fight. That's why Borowiecki's fighting and McCarron's fighting. Guys that I didn't even know existed on the Nashville Predators. Well, I knew Borowiecki existed, but not McCarron. Anyway, third period. The Preds are now 28-0-1 when leading after 2 periods. I got to change that to 29 since they won this one. And again, Matt Dumba still hadn't come back, which was very odd because the way he left was odd. So they kept mentioning, yeah, still haven't seen Matt Dumba. And it's like, okay, hopefully everything's good. 15:41, Fleury denies another chance for Nashville. Then at 13:45, I get the broadcast says that Dumba will not return, so he's gone. 13:32, Cunnin again. I love you. You're trying to help us out. He gets another high-sticking penalty. And wouldn't you know it, at 12:55, Brodin, with a great play to keep the puck in the zone, fires a shot that again hits the post. So, I guess more puck luck than I thought for the Predators because 3 of our shots have hit the post now. And again, that was the best looking power play we had that didn't go in. As far as the 3 in the first period, those sucked. The one we got in this period the second period was good. This third period one, it was good. No goal though. 9:51. Now Minnesota's starting to generate a little bit more urgency, a little bit more efficiency, but Saros is denying them on their chances. Kaprizov and Zuccarello making good plays to possibly get it. And Minnesota just can't generate anything in the offensive zone. So the game kind of winds down to a lull because Minnesota ain't showing any urgency. And wouldn't you know it, at 6:32, when seemingly it was 4-on-1 for Duchesne. Duchesne comes right off of the bench, gets the puck, flies into the zone. 2 guys are on him. 1 is accidentally screening Fleury. That's Middleton. Duchesne takes a shot, hits the far post, and goes in. Snipes Fleury at 6:32. Assisted by Forsberg, but who gives a shit anymore? So he used the screen from Middleton to snipe Fleury, and then at 4:21, Evanson's like, oh, screw it. This game is over. Let's just pull the goalie and see what happens. And nothing ends up happening except for, at 6 seconds left, Ryan Johansson gets an empty net goal, and that would be his first ever NHL hat trick, and he now has 20 goals on the season, assisted by Tomasino and Forsberg. And apparently, Ryan Hartman also got injured on that play, so that's not good. And the game winds down like that. It's a 6-2 victory for the Nashville Predators, a team that we can't seem to beat at all. I don't know why, but we just can't beat them. At least not right now. I think we can, as long as we don't do stupid shit like we did in this game. We don't take any penalties this game, I think we win. Okay? We play that whole game 5-on-5, we will beat Nashville. We play the whole game 5-on-5 against St. Louis, we will beat them. We just cannot shoot ourselves in the foot because those were lazy penalties that they were taking. Duhaime's penalty, Fiala's penalty, especially Kaprizov's. Okay? If he does some dumb shit like that again, he's going to ruin us. And it sucks to say that because he's the greatest asset we have, yet he does dumb stuff like that. It's the dumbest play he's ever made, and hopefully he realizes, yeah, don't do dumb stuff like that. At least I hope he realizes. So Wild lose, 4 power play goals for Nashville ended up killing us. But luckily, we have some rest days because the next game we have is Friday, 8 Eastern in St. Louis. Again, another Central Division opponent. New record is 43-21-5, 91 points. Still 3 points ahead of St. Louis since they didn't play tonight, but they play tomorrow. And they play against Seattle. Great. So now one point lead in the division. And of course that game is going to matter a hell of a lot more. Please, for the love of God, Seattle, win in St. Louis or I'll wear your jersey. Because I have one, believe it or not. And the shots in this game, Minnesota outshot Nashville 49-33. So I would chalk it up to puck luck and say, well, yeah, there's 3 shots that hit the post. UC Saros came up big. Okay, he is a good goaltender for Nashville. The last time we played Nashville was with David Riddick, and they still put up 5 on us. And that was in our building. We can't win against, I don't know why. I don't know why the hell we seem to crumble against Nashville. We just seem to shoot ourselves in the foot every single time. And this is not the team you crumble to. Because you're playing either Nashville or St. Louis. You are playing 2 Central Division opponents in your first 2 rounds. If you can't make it past them, don't even dream of the Stanley Cup. Don't even think about it. Because if you cannot beat your own division, then what is the point? What is the point of trying all of this if you can't even beat the same people in your division? Because you are playing one of them. Whether it is Nashville at the end of the year, which I hope it's not, or St. Louis, which is also good. The guys that kicked our ass outdoors on New Year's Day. Do you really want to play either of those 2? Frankly, because I think we could beat both of them. I think we could. I truly think this team can still win the Stanley Cup. They just cannot shoot themselves in the foot and do dumb shit like this. That and get a little bit healthier because we also don't have John Merrill. We still don't have Matt Boldy. Who knows if he'll play against in St. Louis. They tried him today. They said, no, he's not going today, which sucked for him because it's his birthday, but maybe now he has more time to celebrate, I guess, since, you know, Wild didn't give him a good reason to celebrate. They're going to spend 4 days in Nashville and then fly to St. Louis and just hope for the best. Hope for the best. Please beat the teams in our division. Frankly, I'd rather you do that and then lose to the teams in the East. Because at least if you win your division, you know where you stand against them. Because right now, Nashville and St. Louis both have our number, and they are significantly worse than us. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? We are miles ahead of them, and yet we're not. And yet we beat Colorado. We beat the best team in the league, and yet we can't beat the 2 teams below us in the standings. How does that make any sense? I wish I knew. I wish I knew. But that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. I'm going to keep following the Wild, whether they piss me off or not. And I will talk to you all later. So, peace.